morning, guys. So today we're going to be working on this 2006 Chevy Express van. It's a 2500 and it does have the 6-liter V8. And what we're going to be doing is changing over to the Amsoil Signature Series 5W-30, and it's 100% synthetic. It's chemical based, and then the Amsoil oil filter, which is 98.7% efficient at 20 microns. And before we do that, this van, you know, it's used, it's got a lot of miles on it. We're going to go ahead and do the engine flush to start off clean, and it's going to help clean the rings and everything, so that the Amsoil, which has natural cleaning ability, will it'll be able to start cleaner in a cleaner engine. And we'll go ahead and use the PI as well, which is the fuel system cleaner, and it cleans the fuel injectors, the combustion chambers, and the back side of the intake valves on a quart fuel injected vehicle like this. If you do have GDI, gasoline direct injection, you should still use this, but obviously it's not hitting the back of the intake valves because of the way the engine's designed, and that's an issue with gasoline direct injection. But okay, so we're going to kick it off we'll throw this in the gas tank, and then we're going to idle the engine 15 minutes with this in before we drain the oil and change the filter over to the Amsoil. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and add our Amsoil PI. And again, this isn't a necessary part of an oil change, but it is a good time to do it, just to remember to actually do it. So what we're going to do is, I got to open it up here. I'm by myself right now, but we're just gonna, we took the seal off and everything. We're just gonna pour it in. Now this is a super strong cleaner. This is not to be used any more often than every 4,000 miles. So for most people, 2-3 times a year, you throw this in your gas tank when you fill up, ideally. And that's going to clean your whole fuel system. Now Amsoil has come out with a capless compatible bottle, so if you go to my website numberonesynthetic.com to order, you're going to see a red bottle, and that is a capless compatible. That's the new design, and you don't need any special funnel to use it on your capless fuel system. There's also another fuel additive they just came out with, whereas this is a extremely potent cleanup that you use only every 4,000 miles or so. They make another one that is an upper cylinder lubricant. Now I don't have any of that yet, but that's one that the idea is you add it every tank, and it keeps your fuel system clean, so you don't have to use this even every 4,000. You could probably use this once a year or whatever if you're using that other one as a ongoing cleanup. But it's also an upper cylinder lube, not this one, the other one. And what that does, that can help your compression, and the more compression you get out of your engine, the better performance and fuel mileage you can get. So I have yet to try it. I'm excited to try it. But and we'll go ahead and throw in our engine flush before we start up and idle for 15 minutes. And this isn't necessary, but this is a good thing to do on an older, just a vehicle that's had, other oil. It's probably got some deposits in the engine. You'd be surprised, 100% synthetic oil like Amsoil is a lot different than even the off-the-shelf synthetics. And so, let's see if I can do this. So we're putting the flush in, and yeah, it's just going to clean the crankcase, clean the piston rings. It's a detergent-based, so it's pretty gentle. It's not really a solvent-based. like kerosene or anything like that, but it's a detergent based cleaner. It's just going to help us start clean. And you know, if your oil gets really dirty, like lots of contaminants in it, you can start to have increased oil consumption. But if you clean your crankcase, clean your rings, and you run a high quality oil like the 100% synthetic Amsoil, true chemical base, this is PAO group 4 and ester group 5. If you run something like that, it's going to keep your engine clean, and it's just so much more stable and resists heat, stays fluid in the cold, doesn't break down with oxidation and stuff, or I should say it takes a lot longer for it to break down. But yeah, we'll go ahead and fire up. Oh, another thing real quick, the EA15K32 is the filter recommended for this 6-liter Chevy. I know from experience, from being a dealer since 2007, the EAO64 is the same filter, except it's a bigger can and bigger filter media. And on applications where it will physically fit, you know, you can go ahead and use it, and it's a bigger filter. You'll also notice, you know, 15,000 mile versus 25,000 mile, and what that is, you know, bigger filter obviously has bigger capacity. We're still going to go with the 1 year or 15,000 mile interval, because this van does have, it's used for commercial service. This is Baltic remodeling, and so yeah, it's definitely getting used, you know, severe service. So yeah, again, shout out to Emil at Baltic Remodeling, and check him out. So again, guys, here are the two filters. This is the EA15K32, and this is the EAO64. You can see just a bigger can, bigger, there's more media inside. On the GMC Envoy XL, the 5.3 V8, there isn't physically room to use this filter, but there is on this van, the 06 Express with the 6-liter. There's plenty of room, it just hangs down. So, but before you would do something like this, you know, call Amsoil Technical Services and just verify with them. They can tell you, you know, thread sizes. They can tell you bypass valve opening settings. You know, all that technical stuff. Their number's available at my website, number1synthetic.com. Here's my info, guys. Yeah, if you're interested in checking out the products and or supporting me, yeah, I'd appreciate it. Go to number1synthetic.com, just type it in, and you know, shop online. If you do go to amsoil.com, you know, and you decide to purchase or sign up as a account or whatever, they'll ask you what dealer, you know, and if you care to, you can say Michael Trull. I'd appreciate it. Alright guys, our engine's been idling about 15 minutes, and got that engine flush all through there. So we went ahead and killed the engine. Get under here and we will start draining. Now obviously when you do an engine flush like this, everything's going to be super hot. So, and I forgot to buy gloves again, so hopefully this is a better camera angle than the last video, guys. I think it is. Yeah, 15, that's what I thought. This was the same looking drain plug that I had on my red Cavalier, and if you watch that video, the 2002 Cavalier oil change, you'll see that I had changed my drain plug to a gold plug, which is a high-end aftermarket brand of magnetic drain plugs. And the factory one was magnetic, but it was very weak, and so I stepped up to a gold plug, trying to do that on all my vehicles. But let's see, it'd be interesting. This one might be magnetic from the factory. We'll see. This is an 06 van, 06 Chevy, and mine was an 02. Is an 02. I still have it. Yeah, this is going to be hot. Okay, of course, got it on me. But yeah, we're going to drain that, and it's nice because the pan leans backward, and we do have the front of the vehicle raised, so we should get a very good drain. And then we'll take out our oil filter. We'll let this drain really well, trying to get all that old oil and flush out of there before we put in the Amsoil. And I'm going to also put a new, oh, it does have a magnetic, yep, at least it looks like it. So it doesn't have much on it, so that's either a good sign or it's a very weak magnet. But yeah, hopefully it's just means that the engine's in good shape and doesn't have tons and tons of iron wear. Going to, hope I'm not blocking the camera, we're going to take off our oil filter and see if there's a lot of drainage here as well, because if you can see it, here's the oil filter. This appears to be some type of oil cooler. These lines come out right here, and I trace them. They go into the driver's side of the radiator. Now the transmission lines are over here, and they go to the passenger side of the radiator. So it appears to be a, you know, an oil cooler, which is a great thing. You know, if you can keep your oil at reasonable operating temperatures. I don't know if it applies to true synthetics, but an old rule of thumb was every 18 degrees increase in oil temperature doubles the rate of oxidation of the oil. So yeah, keeping your oil at a reasonable operating temperature, which is, you know, I know the viscosity of oils is done at, the operating viscosity is done at 100 Celsius or 212 Fahrenheit. So, but we know a lot of engines, especially smaller engines of today, are more efficient. They run hotter, and I don't think it's uncommon for just your average car today to see oil temperatures, you know, 230, 240 in normal operation. And that's why it's critical to run quality oil. And the Amsoil 100% synthetic, the Signature Series Amsoil, it stands up to heat so well. The synthetic molecules, they're not refined from petroleum. They're designed by engineers in a lab, and they build an oil from pure chemicals rather than taking crude oil and refining it, making it better and better, and trying to get all the junk out. They just start with pure chemicals and build the exact product that they want. And that's why a true synthetic, again, you keep hearing me say true synthetic, 100% synthetic. A lot of the off-the-shelf synthetics are, because the courts ruled, you know, 20 some years ago that Castrol could use group 3 and call it synthetic, and Mobil was the one that sued them over that. And now, I don't even know if Mobil 1 is true synthetic or if it's Group 3. I hear a lot that it may contain a mixture. I don't know, so that might be interesting if you call Mobil, see if their people will tell you anything. I don't know if that's proprietary information or not, but yeah, I believe in Amsoil. I have had wonderful experience and seeing what a quality synthetic oil. It's just worth it to me to run something quality and that is capable of extended drains. And even if you don't want to extend your drain intervals, just use quality stuff. You spend so much money on vehicles. Spend a little money, get quality oil, quality filters, quality fuel and fuel additives, and your engines, your equipment will thank you. It'll reward you with, well, this is no guarantee, this is a general, but in general, it will reward you with, good service. And some vehicles are going to have problems no matter what, but in general, you can avoid many problems by using quality oil, filters, fuel additives, quality gas. I'm a big fan of non-ethanol gas, though it is obviously way more expensive. But you got to think, before 2006 here in Florida, I think it was, all gas was non-ethanol pretty much. So, and you get some of these older vehicles, and people are running ethanol in them, and maybe they're having problems, maybe they're not, but something to think about. If your vehicle sits a lot, I would think about using non-ethanol gas and maybe something like Amsoil gasoline stabilizer. And there's also the Quick Shot. The Amsoil Quick Shot is for small engines, but I don't see any reason you couldn't use it in a car. But it fights ethanol problems and phase separation, where the ethanol mixes with water in the air or otherwise it gets into the tank, and then that ethanol water mixture falls to the bottom of your fuel tank, causes all kinds of problems. And there's corrosion issues associated with ethanol. So, but I think newer cars are designed for it. So while we're continuing to let everything drain, we're going to go ahead and prep our oil filter, our Amsoil EAO64. Again, it calls for the 32, but this is, on this vehicle, there is clearance to run the bigger filter, and the bigger can is, it also has a bigger filter element inside, and so that's going to, obviously be better, more capacity to catch contaminants. And I like to pre-fill. Some people don't. It's different schools of thought. If you're wondering, a lot of people say oh, well, I don't pre-fill because I don't want to risk putting contaminants in this hole in the center. This oil goes directly to the main oil passages of the engine. So when the oil comes in to be filtered, it comes in through the little holes, goes through the filter, and exits through the center hole. So a lot of people don't like to put anything in there because they reason that, this oil is then unfiltered. And I can assure you, Amsoil's processes and procedures, they're all ISO 9001, I forget what it is, but they filter their new oil. I forget the rating. It might be 98% at 2 microns. They filter it very fine, so this oil is, you can rest assured that this Amsoil is clean. It's not coming, you know, contaminated or anything. So let's lube our gasket here and make sure your old gasket came off with the filter. Do not install, you know, if one of these rubber gaskets is stuck to your engine, it's gonna leak, guaranteed. So you only want one. So we're all good. Clean around here. I want to be careful not to introduce any contaminants, especially into that center part, because that goes directly to the bearings. Thing looks good. We got our filter all pre-filled. You can see it's straight up and down vertical, so it is good to go. See, plenty of room for this larger filter, almost like it was made for a larger filter. You do have to be careful. Like I said, I know from experience the 32 and the 64 work this way, but you can't just in any case with any brand of filter do that. You have to make sure the bypass valve setting is the correct range of PSI. Basically what that is, if your filter media plugs, you want oil to flow, even if it's dirty oil. So there's a bypass built in. This also happens when your oil is cold sometimes, especially in the wintertime. If the oil is too cold to push through the filter, it will bypass through this valve inside the filter to keep from starving your engine. So you mitigate that problem by running a high quality synthetic like Amsoil, which flows readily in the cold, but nevertheless. So those are the kinds of things you have to make sure are correct when choosing a filter, you know. But like I said, go to my website. You can call Amsoil Tech Services to help you out with that kind of stuff as well. Now when it comes to oil filters, I'm a hand tight kind of person, but I can't really get my hand. That should be good, but just want to make sure. I can't really. This is one place where I might just put a wrench on it, just to turn it just a tad, but I think we got it here. I did notice the last filter was kind of loose. I don't even know if this wrench will turn in that direction, because it's made for, you know, obviously for removal. Yeah, it won't even grab in that direction. Just dry hands. Yeah, there we go. 2 hands. We're getting it. Now, our oil drain plug, we did wipe off the magnet, which didn't have a lot on it. Let's see how strong it is. I don't. Yeah, it is actually, you know, it does have some magnetic ability there, so it's going to do good. A gold plug would have a much stronger magnet, and I demonstrate that in the 2002 Cavalier oil change video. By the way, be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos, like and share. And my website is also pinned in the first comment. I still don't know how to put links in my description yet, but I'm pretty new to YouTube. So this oil plug has a rubber gasket built in, so we won't be putting a crush washer on this. We're just gonna, this is a reusable deal, so we're just gonna put it back in here. See if I need to wipe anything. Yeah, I think that got a pretty good drain. Who knows, I would guesstimate it at 30 minutes. I've been letting it drain. And so we will go ahead and tighten that. The torque spec for the oil drain plug should be available at my website, number1synthetic.com. I don't know if I've ever used a torque wrench on a oil drain bolt. I just kind of use common sense. I know that's pretty vague. You know, get it tight, but don't strip the bolt. Be careful on things like this. This looks like an aluminum pan even, so yeah, be extra careful. I think mine on my Cavalier is steel, but this does look like aluminum. So we're gonna call that good. My guess is that's 20-some foot-pounds. So it's time to go ahead and fill up the engine, and we've got the Amsoil. This is Signature Series, product code ASL 5W-30, 100% synthetic, and it is good for up to 1 year, 25,000 miles if you're a road warrior, and 15,000 if you're, you know, severe service, like this is commercial. I probably should be using a funnel here. But yeah, commercial vehicles, stop and go, lots of idling, city driving. So most vehicles are falling under severe service. So yeah, like for me it works out. I just change my oil once a year. There are years where I've only put, yeah, I'm gonna need a funnel. Didn't spill any yet, but there are years where I've only put 8,000 miles. I still change it once a year. This past year on the 2002 Cavalier, you can check that video out. Again, I keep referring to it, but I put like 13,000 miles on that oil in a year's time. And so, you know, it's been working great for me. Car's doing well. Again though, don't let extended drain intervals scare you. You know, do what you're comfortable with. Use this oil for, you know, the factory drain interval or whatever you feel comfortable with up to their recommendation. You can actually go longer if you do oil analysis. You have a sample of your oil sent to a lab. It's like $30-some, and they'll give you a full breakdown on everything, wear metals, what's going on inside your engine, and basically tell you if your oil is still good and you can keep using it. But yeah, so I say, you know, use Amsoil not so much for extended drain intervals, use it for protection. This oil is so much better at protecting your engine. And in the days like now, we have cars with they just put so much more stress on motor oil, and you'll see that as the API, I think we have SN Plus right now is what we have for oil, minimum quality ratings. But next year, I believe GF6 comes out, and you got GF6A and GF6B. I think B is not backwards compatible, and that's like viscosity 0W16, I believe. And Amsoil already has one. We have a 0W16, yeah, so Amsoil, it was interesting to note, they said the Amsoil formulations meet all their specs without any formulation changes. So that just goes to tell you, Amsoil's ahead of the curve. They're making the best oil possible. They're not looking at, what's the lowest performance we can get away with. They're making the best oil possible. And basically API specs are a lowest common denominator. If an oil says it meets the certain specs, API specs, that's great. That's like saying that an Olympic pole vaulter can jump over, your kid's bicycle. Well, big deal. Most people can do that. It's a lowest common denominator specification. The Amsoil just, blows away specifications. And again, go to my website, go to number1synthetic.com, browse, click around. There are the testing that Amsoil does. It's industry standard testing. It's repeatable. It's scientific. They're making claims on there that if they were making these things up, the big oil companies would shut them down in a heartbeat. They would, sue them out of business. But the claims they're making are true, and they're repeatable. So check it out, number1synthetic.com. Alright guys, this is our first startup after we dumped 6 corks in. So we're going to check for oil pressure. And it didn't take long. Having that filter pre-filled helped a lot with that. So yeah, let's go underneath, check for leaks. Alright, let me get under here. And there's our Amsoil filter. Looking good. See any leaks from that. And our plug looking good as well. So I would say that's a success. And alright, we'll bring it off the ramps, turn it off, let it sit for a few minutes, and then we'll check the oil, see how we're doing. So guys, we went ahead, we idled the engine for a few minutes. After changing it, checked for leaks, backed it off the ramps, and it has been sitting now for a few. So we're going to see where our oil level is. I forget, these big vans have super long dipsticks because of how far back the engine is. And we'll work it back in there. we can tell. Yeah, we're full. We're right on the money. I don't know if you can see that, but it is right there at that dot, right at max. So I'd say we are good. Now he just needs to monitor his oil level. That's something I forgot to say in most of my videos is you still need to check your oil, maintain your oil level, and you know, whether that's once a month, it's going to depend on, you know, does your vehicle tend to use oil or not, but you do need to pull your dipstick and maintain that oil level. If you go to my website, number1synthetic.com, there is actually a button to, when you look up your vehicle, you type in your vehicle, your make, model, and engine, and when you do that, it's going to give you an option, not only a list of all the Amsoil products recommended, it'll give you a one-click option to add so many quarts of oil and the filter to your cart. It's a convenient option. There's actually another button, I believe, where you can click add 1 extra quart for top off. But yeah, it's all there at my website. If you want to support me, like, share, subscribe, share with people you think might be interested, and definitely check out my website, number1synthetic.com. That's going to be the best way to order your Amsoil, get it shipped to you anywhere in the US and Canada. And let's see if we can get that website to show up. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. number1synthetic.com. Preferred customers buy at wholesale, so maybe you're interested in Amsoil, maybe you're using it. You don't want to necessarily sign up as a dealer, but you do want to pay a small annual fee and buy everything at wholesale cost. You're going to save about 25%. So preferred customer, hit me up if you're interested in using this stuff in your business, or selling it at your mechanic shop, or whatever. There's wholesale accounts for that. Hit me up. Thanks, guys. So a lot of people want to know, Mike, you know, I want to use your product. I don't change my own oil. If you take Amsoil to your mechanic, many of them, I don't know most, but many mechanics will put it in for you. So just ask. But what I'm also looking for are dealers to join me, and automotive shops. I'd like some more automotive shops to partner with, and you can be anywhere in the US and Canada. The Amsoil products, I'd set you up on an account with them, wholesale account, and the stuff would ship. Free shipping over $350 for those type of accounts, like garage accounts. And you know, if you got a fleet of vans or something and you want to sign your business up, it would be the same. And you buy the Amsoil products at wholesale, so you're saving like 25% right there. But yeah, I would like to get some shops anywhere in the US and Canada who I can refer people to, who are like, Mike, I want to, you know, buy Amsoil, but you know, who can I trust to put it in for me? And so, you know, start by trying out Amsoil yourself. You know, I want people who believe in the product because they've used it. And Amsoil is a full line. I mean, the motor oil is one thing. There's gear oil, several transmission fluids, several gear oils, European car formulas, many of which meet Mercedes and Porsche and Audi, a lot of different specs. We've got dual clutch transmission fluid. There's so much that Amsoil has to offer. So yeah, if your shop would be interested, you know, I'm in Clearwater, Florida, but again, anywhere, US and Canada. But I am looking for some local shops, even Clearwater, Tampa Bay, where I can send people to who don't want to change their own oil, and they really don't want to buy it and take it to their mechanic. They just want to go somewhere and have it done. So again, try the stuff out, talk to me, and if you like it and believe in it and want to, I don't just want people who want to sell something. I want people who want to help people and believe in what Amsoil can do for people. So, thank you. Here it is, #1synthetic.com. You can learn a lot there. Yeah, again, Amsoil's got something like 14 warehouses around the U.S. and Canada. So your products come UPS in most cases. If you're ordering like 55-gallon drums, yeah, it'll come on a truck with a lift gate. But Amsoil's even got totes, 275-gallon totes. Yeah, they've got a full product line. It's premium. It's 100% synthetic. It's the way to go. Thanks, guys. Michael Trull, independent Amsoil dealer. Thank you.